Welcome to Midnight Terrors, where spine-chilling tales come to life. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and tap the bell for notifications. You don't want to miss a single story that'll keep you up at night. We're on a mission to grow, and your support is everything. Share these terrifying stories with your friends, family, and anyone who dares to listen. Thanks for being part of the journey. Let's begin. Story 1: The Silent Sister. St. Mercy's Hospital was known for its dedicated staff and unwavering commitment to patient care. But behind the gleaming walls of this trusted institution hid a monster. Nurse Claudia wasn't just tending to the sick, she was orchestrating their downfall. Claudia glances up, locking eyes with a nervous patient sitting across the room. Her gaze lingers a second too long, sending a shiver down their spine before she calmly walks away, disappearing into the shadows. Claudia strides through the bustling hospital, her footsteps precise and eerily quiet. She exchanges a quick, deliberate nod with a janitor pushing a mop bucket. As they pass, he discreetly hands her a small envelope, which she pockets without looking. She heads toward the basement, her expression darkening with every step. "Doctor, Claudia, you're a lifesaver, always calm, always in control." Claudia tilting her head, smiling faintly. "It's all in the details, doctor. People overlook the details." The basement is dimly lit, cluttered with old equipment and files. Claudia unlocks a hidden door and steps into a makeshift office. Inside, her brother Victor lounges in a chair, his fingers dancing over a laptop keyboard. The air reeks of chemicals and danger. "We've got a problem. The last mule is losing her nerve." She knows the rules. If she can't follow them, she'll be a message to the others. She picks up a scalpel from a tray, its blade gleaming ominously in the dim light, and twirls it casually in her fingers. Victor watches, uneasy, but says nothing. In a small, sterile room, Maria, a frightened immigrant, sits trembling. Claudia enters, her expression soft, almost maternal. She kneels beside Maria, taking her hands in her own. "Claudia, sweetheart, I know this seems scary, but this is your chance. Do as I say, and you'll have a new life. Freedom, safety, everything you've dreamed of." Maria hesitates, but Claudia's grip tightens painfully, her nails digging into Maria's skin. "Or you can go back to where you came from, where no one will care what happens to you." Maria nods, too terrified to refuse. Claudia's smile returns, but her eyes remain icy. In the hospital bathroom, Maria carefully removes a taped packet from under her gown. Her hands shake as she examines the capsules inside. Tears well up as she realizes the risk she's taking. Meanwhile, Claudia is in her office, reviewing surveillance footage. She rewinds and pauses on Maria's anxious face, a cruel smirk creeping across her lips. Claudia herself, "You're going to make me work for this, aren't you?" Later, Maria overhears Claudia and Victor speaking through a vent. "Victor, she's a flight risk." "Then clip her wings. I'll clean up the mess." Maria panics. Her breathing quickens as she makes a decision. She must escape. Maria sneaks through the hospital's labyrinth of corridors, clutching the drug packet. Claudia, sensing something is wrong, begins her search. She moves silently, her presence almost ghostly, the shadows seeming to follow her. Maria hides in a supply closet, her heartbeat pounding loudly in her ears. Suddenly, the door creaks open. Claudia stands there, her silhouette framed by the harsh hallway light. "Claudia, Maria, dear, you're not supposed to be here. Come out, and we can talk." Maria lunges past her, running desperately. Claudia follows, her calm demeanor slipping into something feral. Her footsteps echo, relentless and inhumanly fast. Maria makes it to the police station just as Claudia's car screeches to a halt outside. Officers swarm the hospital the next day, uncovering Claudia's hidden operation. They find Victor trying to burn evidence, but it's too late. "Officer, Claudia Thompson, you're under arrest for drug trafficking, human exploitation, and attempted murder." Claudia's mask of control finally shatters. She screams, a guttural, inhuman sound that chills everyone in the room. Her eyes burn with rage as she's dragged away, her voice echoing. "Claudia, you think you've won? This isn't over." Maria sits in the police station, her hands trembling, but her face determined. An officer pats her shoulder reassuringly. Meanwhile, Claudia sits in a dark prison cell, her expression eerily calm as she whispers to herself. How could someone as seemingly kind and dedicated as Nurse Claudia hide such a sinister double life for so long? The power of a well-crafted facade is critical to understanding how Claudia remained undetected. Her position as a nurse allowed her to exploit the inherent trust placed in healthcare professionals. Her reputation for calm efficiency and control worked as a shield, deflecting suspicion even in moments when her actions might have otherwise raised red flags. Claudia's meticulous nature also played a significant role. She had an almost obsessive attention to detail, ensuring that her illegal operations left no obvious traces. By building relationships with key staff, like the janitor who served as a courier, she created a network of silence. Fear was her other weapon. Any doubts or concerns raised by her subordinates were quashed with veiled threats, ensuring loyalty out of necessity rather than respect. Additionally, Claudia used her knowledge of hospital procedures to her advantage. By operating in hidden or overlooked spaces like the basement and blending her activities into the chaos of hospital life, she maintained an air of invisibility. This chilling combination of manipulation, fear, and precision allowed her double life to flourish. Why didn't Maria, the drug mule, escape or report Claudia sooner? Maria's hesitation stems from fear, manipulation, and Claudia's psychological control. As an immigrant seeking safety and stability, Maria was in a vulnerable position. Claudia exploited this vulnerability by presenting herself as a savior, offering Maria a chance at a better life. However, this supposed kindness came with invisible chains. Claudia used Maria's undocumented status to ensure compliance, insinuating that any attempt to rebel would result in deportation, or worse. Claudia also instilled fear through her demeanor and reputation. Stories of others who failed to meet expectations would have circulated, either through Claudia's direct warnings or her accomplices. The implicit threat of violence or retaliation left Maria paralyzed, forcing her to weigh the risks of escape against the dangers of staying. It was only when Maria overheard Claudia's plans for her demise that desperation overcame fear. The realization that she was expendable, that her loyalty offered no protection, pushed her to act. Maria's decision to escape wasn't just about survival. It was a profound act of courage, born from a refusal to let Claudia dictate her fate any longer. Evil often hides behind a smile, but even the cruelest darkness can be brought to light by courage. Maria's bravery saved her, and countless others, but the shadows Claudia cast may linger longer than anyone realizes. Quick pause. If you know someone who would find this video helpful or interesting, share it with them. Every share helps more people discover our channel, and your support truly makes a difference. If you suspect someone is being exploited, speak up. A single act of courage can save lives. Story 2. The Cradle Thief. St. Haven General was a place of healing where families found hope, but beneath its walls a shadow was growing, one that preyed on the most innocent of all. Evelyn walks through the nursery, her steps soft and deliberate. She stops at the crib of a newborn, glances at the name tag, and smirks. She carefully switches the baby's identification bracelet with another. Evelyn hands the newborn to a young mother, her voice gentle and reassuring. "Evelyn, here's your beautiful baby boy, Mrs. Andrews. Congratulations!" The mother smiles, her exhaustion replaced by joy. Evelyn's kindness seems genuine, but as she turns away, her expression darkens. Later, in a hidden office, Evelyn meets with Margot, a woman in her 50s with an expensive coat and a greedy glint in her eyes. "This one better be perfect, Evelyn. The buyers are getting impatient." "Don't worry, he's everything they've asked for." Evelyn slides a file across the desk. Inside are photos of newborns, each tagged with details like blue eyes, healthy lungs, and no family history of illness. "Margot, you've outdone yourself. The network is growing and so is demand. We'll be rich." "We already are." Evelyn recruits Nurse Teresa, a single mother struggling with debt. They meet in the hospital parking lot late at night. "Evelyn, think of it as helping these babies. They're going to families who can give them everything, and you'll never have to worry about paying bills again." Teresa hesitates but eventually nods. Evelyn hands her an envelope filled with cash. Evelyn and her growing network discreetly replacing babies, forging paperwork, and smuggling the infants out of the hospital. The sequence grows of nervous nurses, crying mothers, and shadowy exchanges in parking lots. One day, Emily, a young nurse new to the hospital, stumbles upon a hidden ledger in Evelyn's locker. It's filled with coded entries matching baby names to dates and amounts of money. Emily confronts Teresa in the break room. Emily, I found this in Evelyn's locker. Do you know what's going on? Teresa, you don't understand. It's too late to stop her. She'll ruin you if you try. Emily, determined, begins documenting suspicious activities. She secretly records Evelyn during a heated conversation with Margot. Evelyn, you promised discretion, Margot. If one of my girls cracks, this whole operation falls apart. Relax, Evelyn. No one would dare cross you. One night, a mother, Lila, wakes up in her hospital room and notices something off. Her baby's name tag doesn't match the one she remembered from earlier. Lila insists on seeing the hospital records, causing a commotion. Meanwhile, Emily tips off the authorities. A team of detectives begins investigating St. Haven General, interviewing staff and mothers. Evelyn realizes the walls are closing in. She gathers her files and money, planning her escape, but Teresa, guilt-ridden, decides to betray her. Teresa, to the police, I'll tell you everything. Just protect me from her. Evelyn discovers Teresa's betrayal and confronts her in a darkened hospital hallway. The scene is tense, with Evelyn's usually calm demeanor giving way to cold fury. You think they'll protect you? You're as guilty as I am. At least I'm trying to make it right. Before Evelyn can act, police sirens wail outside. She flees through a back exit, narrowly avoiding capture. A dramatic chase ensues through the city, with Evelyn trying to outwit the police. She abandons her car, disappearing into the shadows. How did Nurse Evelyn convince her network of nurses to participate in such a horrifying and illegal operation? Nurse Evelyn's recruitment strategy was as cunning as it was manipulative. She targeted individuals who were vulnerable, either financially or emotionally. For example, she approached nurses like Teresa, a single mother struggling with debt, knowing their desperation would make them more likely to agree. Evelyn presented the scheme as a way to help struggling families adopt babies while solving their financial problems, cloaking her criminal intentions in a veneer of altruism. Evelyn's charisma played a significant role. She portrayed herself as a mentor and a protector to those she recruited, creating an environment of trust and fear. She would assure her recruits that the operation was foolproof and that everyone involved was helping these babies find better lives. However, the implied threats were always present. Evelyn made it clear that disobedience or betrayal would have severe consequences, whether through legal repercussions or worse. This combination of persuasion, manipulation, and intimidation ensured her network remained loyal, at least for a while. Her ability to maintain control highlighted her chilling skill in exploiting human weakness to achieve her goals. Why didn't anyone suspect Evelyn's activities sooner, especially in such a busy hospital environment? Evelyn's success in operating undetected stemmed from her meticulous planning and her understanding of how hospitals function. The chaotic nature of healthcare environments worked to her advantage, as the high volume of patients, staff changes, and general busyness provided ample cover for her illicit activities. She cultivated a sterling reputation as a compassionate and highly efficient nurse. Her outward demeanor, calm, helpful, and dependable, deflected suspicion. Parents and colleagues alike trusted her implicitly, which gave her access to sensitive areas like the nursery and medical records without raising eyebrows. Evelyn also exploited procedural loopholes, such as gaps in security protocols or the over-reliance on trust in hospital identification systems. By carefully altering records and manipulating schedules, she ensured the babies she stole could be smuggled out without immediate detection. The sheer audacity of her operation also worked as a psychological shield. People often fail to consider that such horrific crimes could happen right under their noses. It wasn't until Emily, the new nurse, stumbled upon evidence and began piecing things together that Evelyn's activities came to light, proving that even the most convincing facades can eventually crumble under scrutiny. Evelyn was last seen boarding a bus in another city, her hair dyed and her demeanor as calm as ever. Evil doesn't vanish, it adapts. For every shadow uncovered, another emerges. Nurse Evelyn may have been exposed, but the darkness she created still lingers. Quick break. Know someone who might love this content? Send them a link. Every share helps us expand our reach, and we truly appreciate every bit of support from viewers like you. Story 3, The Evil Caregiver. Sunset Haven, a quiet, picturesque elderly home surrounded by tall oak trees. Inside, cheerful staff greet visitors, and elderly residents chat in cozy living rooms. Nurse Beatrice, a tall, stern figure with icy blue eyes and an unsettling smile, walking through the corridors. Her steps are slow and deliberate as she enters a room where Mr. Harris, a frail man in his late 80s, sits by the window. Beatrice, good evening, Mr. Harris. Did you think more about our little conversation? She places a hand on his shoulder, her tone soft yet chilling. There is a bank document lying on a table with transfer written in bold letters. Nurse Beatrice looks like a beacon of care and compassion, but beneath her gentle facade lay a predator, one who preyed on the trust of the most vulnerable. Beatrice chats with the elderly residents during breakfast, her demeanor warm and attentive. She listens intently to their stories and builds trust. Nurse Beatrice, you're the only one who understands me. You're like family. I only want the best for you. If there's ever anything I can do, just let me know. Later in the supply closet, Beatrice examines small vials of medication, her expression turning cold. She meticulously labels them with false prescriptions. One more step to freedom, and no one will ever suspect a thing. Beatrice meeting Ms. Watkins, a wealthy widow, in the lounge. Beatrice, you've mentioned how hard it's been managing your accounts without your late husband. Why don't I help you? It's what family would do. Ms. Watkins nods, her gratitude palpable. Beatrice's smile fades as she turns away, her expression dark. Beatrice's sinister routine. She persuades residents to grant her access to their accounts under the guise of helping with bills or simplifying finances. She logs into their online banking portals and transferring large sums of money to an untraceable account. Beatrice prepares syringes late at night. She mixes medications carefully, her hands steady as the sound of a ticking clock grows louder. The next morning, residents are discovered unresponsive in their beds, their deaths ruled as natural causes due to age or pre-existing conditions. One day, Daniel, the nephew of a resident, visits his aunt, Ms. Harper. He notices she seems nervous and withdrawn, a stark contrast to her usual upbeat demeanor. Daniel, Aunt Ruth, is everything okay? You seem different. It's just, Nurse Beatrice has been so kind. She's helped me with my finances, but sometimes I feel uneasy. Daniel grows suspicious and decides to dig deeper, and he installs a hidden camera in Miss Harper's room and starts monitoring interactions. Late one night, Daniel reviews the footage. He watches as Beatrice enters the room, rummages through Miss Harper's belongings, and retrieves a notebook containing her banking details. Don't worry, Miss Harper. You won't have to think about anything soon enough. Horrified, Daniel confronts Beatrice the next morning, but she maintains her composure. I'm only here to help. Your aunt is lucky to have someone like me. Daniel takes the evidence to the police. Meanwhile, Beatrice grows suspicious of Daniel's visits and begins plotting her next move. Beatrice attempts to silence Miss Harper by administering a fatal dose of medication, but Daniel arrives just in time. A tense confrontation ensues, with Daniel stopping the injection and calling for help. Beatrice flees the scene, escaping into the nearby woods. A manhunt follows, with the police uncovering her hidden files, detailing years of financial exploitation and the deaths of multiple residents. The chase ends dramatically as Beatrice is cornered in an abandoned cabin, her once calm demeanor now replaced by desperation. They were old, forgotten. I gave them a purpose, one last gift. The police arrest her, her chilling words echoing as she's taken away. Daniel stands by Miss Harper's bedside as she recovers, her gratitude evident. Thank you, Daniel. If it weren't for you, you don't need to thank me. No one else should ever go through this. Evil can wear the gentlest of masks, but it always leaves traces. Thanks to one act of courage, the innocent was protected, and a predator was unmasked. Why didn't anyone in the elderly home suspect Beatrice's actions earlier? The chaotic nature of a healthcare environment provided Beatrice with the perfect cover. Care homes often have high staff turnover, understaffed shifts, and overworked employees, which made it easier for her to operate unnoticed. Most deaths in an elderly home are expected, And Beatrice exploited this assumption by targeting residents with terminal illnesses or advanced age, ensuring her victims' deaths seemed plausible. Moreover, Beatrice had cultivated a professional and caring image. Staff members viewed her as a hardworking and compassionate nurse, and residents often spoke of her kindness. These impressions dissuaded colleagues from questioning her actions. Furthermore, administrative oversight was minimal, and security measures like auditing financial transactions or monitoring medication distribution were either inadequate or non-existent. Always question the intentions of those in positions of trust. Your vigilance could save a life. Hold on tight, because you're about to enter a world of pure terror. Hit that subscribe button now and ring the bell if you dare. You wouldn't want to miss these spine-chilling updates. Think you're brave enough? Then go ahead. Choose the video on my right, or maybe the one on my left. But beware, these aren't just stories, they're nightmares that will stay with you long after the screen goes dark. Not everyone makes it through, so viewer discretion advised. Only the fearless will survive the terror waiting within.